On the journey of life, the people who cross our path play significant roles, often in ways we can't immediately understand. Some arrive gently, like a breeze, while others challenge us, push us out of our comfort zones, and make us question our certainties. However, all these encounters, without exception, have something in common. They all serve a purpose. Even when we don't understand it right away, every person we meet along the way brings with them a lesson, whether it's pleasant or difficult. The idea that every encounter has a purpose is not something new, but it is something we often forget to reflect upon. However, if we truly stop and think, we'll realize that the people who come into our lives, whether unexpectedly or planned, have something valuable to offer us. The most curious thing is that it's not only the pleasant encounters that bring us learning, but also those that at first glance seem painful or challenging. Life, with its infinite wisdom, often places us in situations and with people who, though they may cause discomfort at the moment, have something to teach us about ourselves. It may be a lesson in patience, about what truly matters to us, or even about what still needs healing within us. What may seem like a challenge is, in fact, a disguised opportunity for growth. When we reflect on the people who enter our lives, we can understand that they are, in fact, disguised teachers. These people help us see what we need to learn, heal our inner wounds, and become stronger versions of ourselves. It is not about blaming someone for our problems or difficulties, but about understanding that every human being, with their presence and actions, has the power to transform us. Life teaches us that, when we look at the people we encounter, we should adopt a more welcoming and attentive attitude, recognizing that they are not mere coincidences, but rather part of a choreography that aims at our personal growth. Each of these encounters, with its highs and lows, contributes to our evolution, shaping who we are and helping us understand ourselves more deeply. These lessons, no matter how subtle they may seem, require a certain level of presence on our part. We cannot allow the rush of daily life to blind us to the teachings hidden in the encounters we have with others. When we are truly present, we can notice the small gestures, the unsaid words, and the shared moments of silence, all filled with meaning. Often, it is in these quiet moments that life speaks to us most clearly. There is something deeply transformative about realizing that the people we meet are not here by chance. Even the shortest or most challenging relationships carry with them a higher purpose. Every interaction, every conversation, even the simplest ones, holds a lesson that contributes to our journey of self-discovery. When we adopt this perspective, life becomes richer in meaning, and often the struggles we face can turn into opportunities for growth. So the invitation is for you, as you look at the people around you, to see them not just as passing figures but as part of an ongoing learning experience. They are like pieces of a puzzle that, although at times seem disconnected, ultimately reveal a clearer and more meaningful image. If you are willing to look beyond the surface, you will realize that every encounter has something to offer, even if at first it isn't what you expected. As we continue along this journey, we must begin to look at the deeper meaning behind the people we encounter. The truth is that life doesn't bring individuals into our path without reason. Every person who comes into our lives, whether fleetingly or for a long period, brings with them a unique lesson that contributes to our overall growth. However, it's often the case that we don't recognize these lessons immediately. They are sometimes hidden behind challenges or discomforts, but they are always there waiting for us to uncover them. Take a moment to reflect on the times when someone has entered your life and left an impact, whether positive or negative. How did that encounter shape you? More often than not, the people who challenge us the most are the ones who contribute the greatest to our personal transformation. This doesn't mean that these relationships are easy. On the contrary, they often push us to our limits, forcing us to confront parts of ourselves that we'd rather avoid. Yet when we look back, we realize that these are the moments where we learn the most about who we truly are. The beauty of these encounters is that they remind us that we are not isolated beings. We are all interconnected in a vast network of relationships, each one contributing to the story of our lives. Sometimes, it's the people we least expect to affect us who end up making the most profound impact. They may come from a completely different background or have a perspective that challenges everything we believe, yet their presence in our lives can be the catalyst for a deep and meaningful change. What we often fail to realize in the moment is that each person is acting as a mirror, reflecting aspects of ourselves we might not otherwise see. If someone irritates us, it may be because they are highlighting something within us that we have yet to address. If someone inspires us, it's because we see something in them that resonates with a part of us that has been dormant. In either case, these interactions serve as mirrors, showing us who we are and who we have the potential to become. In many ways, the people we meet are like messengers, sent to us at precisely the right time. We may not always be ready to hear the message, but it is still there waiting for us to understand. Sometimes these messages come in the form of a difficult conversation, a disagreement, or even a moment of conflict. Yet, if we take the time to reflect on these moments, we realize that they are not punishments or accidents, but opportunities for growth. As we navigate through life, we must remember that the relationships we build with others are not static. They evolve, shift, and transform over time. Some connections grow stronger while others may fade away. The impermanence of these relationships is something that we must come to accept if we are to fully appreciate their value. In a world where everything is constantly changing, understanding the transient nature of relationships helps us appreciate the present moment. This is where mindfulness comes into play. By being fully present in our interactions with others, we are able to experience these relationships in their entirety. We don't just rush through conversations or let moments slip by unnoticed. Instead, we embrace each encounter as an opportunity to connect, learn, and grow. When we cultivate this level of presence, we begin to see the deeper meaning in every interaction, no matter how seemingly insignificant. We often think of our lives as a series of isolated events, each one happening separately from the next. But in reality, they are all interconnected, forming a larger, more cohesive story. The people who come into our lives, whether for a short time or a lifetime, are all part of this greater narrative, and every encounter, whether joyous or painful, is a chapter in the story that helps shape who we are and who we are becoming. When we look at life this way, we start to realize that nothing is ever wasted. Every person, every experience, and every lesson is an integral part of our journey. Even the challenges we face with others have their place. As they teach us how to navigate the complexities of human connection, they prepare us for the next chapter, equipping us with the tools we need to continue evolving. Now, think about the people in your life who have left a lasting impression on you. These are not just people who brought joy or comfort, but also those who challenged you, made you uncomfortable, or caused you pain. These people are often the ones who have taught you the most about yourself. How did their presence shape you? What lessons did you learn, even if they weren't immediately obvious? By acknowledging the impact that each of these individuals has had on your life, you begin to see the interconnectedness of it all. As we delve deeper into the nature of human connections, we begin to recognize that relationships, while they can often be complicated, are inherently beautiful. They serve as the building blocks of our personal growth, offering us opportunities to reflect, evolve, and become more attuned to who we truly are. However, it's easy to overlook the profound lessons these relationships offer us, especially when we find ourselves caught up in the whirlwind of emotions that can accompany them. What's important to understand is that, regardless of whether an encounter is positive or negative, it brings something essential to the table. Sometimes, we meet people who uplift us, inspire us to be better, or offer us unwavering support. These individuals feel like gifts, as they appear at the right moment, providing us with comfort or guidance when we need it most. But then, there are those who come into our lives to challenge us, make us uncomfortable, and push us to confront parts of ourselves we would rather not face. Though these encounters can seem painful, they are just as crucial, if not more so, for our development. In the framework of life's wisdom, there are no coincidences. Every person who enters your life does so with a purpose, whether you recognize it immediately or not. Some relationships leave an indelible mark, while others may pass by without much impact. However, even those brief moments are not without significance. It's important to remember that nothing is ever truly wasted in our lives. Every person we meet, every conversation we engage in, has the potential to contribute to our understanding of ourselves and the world around us. One of the key elements of understanding this deeper truth is the recognition of the impermanence of all things, including relationships. In the past, You may have found yourself clinging to certain connections, wanting them to last forever, fearing that the loss of a person would somehow diminish your life. But the wisdom of impermanence teaches us that everything, including our relationships, has a beginning and an end. The relationships that once seemed so certain can shift and evolve, teaching us that attachment only creates unnecessary suffering. When we learn to let go, we free ourselves from the burden of trying to control or hold on to something that was never meant to last forever. This doesn't mean we stop valuing relationships or that we shouldn't invest in them. Rather, it's about recognizing that the true beauty of a connection lies in its ability to teach us and help us grow, regardless of how long it lasts. Some relationships come into our lives with such intensity, leaving us changed forever in their wake. Others, though they may seem less profound at first, still offer lessons in humility, patience, or kindness. These connections serve as a mirror, reflecting our own inner world and showing us where we need to grow. There's also something uniquely powerful about the relationships that appear when we are least expecting them. These are the ones that come out of nowhere, seemingly appearing like a sign or a message. They often show us something we didn't even know we needed to see. The unexpected nature of these encounters is what makes them so powerful. They arrive at a moment when we are open, ready for change, and prepared to welcome the lessons they bring. Think about the unexpected people who have entered your life, those who have caught you off guard, but left you with a profound impact. Perhaps they showed you a new perspective, helped you heal a wound you didn't even realize was there, or inspired you to pursue a new path. These individuals are not random. They are part of a larger cosmic design, meant to guide you toward your higher self. Sometimes it's not even the people who enter our lives that teach us the most. It's the relationships that challenge us. When someone pushes us to our limits, we often resist. Our ego doesn't want to face the truth that these challenges are revealing about us, but it's in those moments of discomfort that we are forced to look inward, examine our responses, and question our beliefs. In doing so, we uncover hidden parts of ourselves that need healing. And while this process may be uncomfortable, it is precisely where our most profound growth happens. It's important to recognize that the challenges we face in relationships aren't always about the other person. More often than not, they are about us. How do we react to difficult people or challenging situations? What does it reveal about us that we might not want to see? In these moments, we are given the opportunity to examine our own flaws, limitations, and blind spots. We can either resist and continue to suffer, or we can lean in, accept the discomfort, and allow ourselves to grow. These difficult relationships act as mirrors, showing us our own vulnerabilities. It may be a painful realization, but once we see what is reflected back at us, we have the opportunity to heal and become more whole. This is the paradox of human relationships. The people who challenge us the most often provide us with the greatest opportunities for personal growth. And although these connections may be fleeting, they offer us lessons that stay with us for a lifetime. As we navigate through these various types of connections, it becomes clearer that no person enters our life without contributing to our journey. Even those who cause us pain or frustration bring something valuable to the table. We may not realize it immediately, but over time, the lessons they offer us begin to unfold. When we reflect on these lessons, we begin to see that they are essential parts of our development, pushing us to expand, evolve, and grow. So take a moment to appreciate the people in your life, both the ones who bring you joy and the ones who challenge you. They are all part of your journey. Every interaction, no matter how brief, is an opportunity to learn, to evolve, and to grow. And even when relationships come to an end, the lessons they leave behind are always with us, shaping the way we approach the world and interact with others. As we progress on our journey of self-awareness and personal growth, it becomes clear that the people we encounter are not just passers-by in the story of our lives. They are integral players, even when we may not initially see the significance of their presence. Every person we meet, whether they challenge us, support us, or simply cross our path, plays a key role in the shaping of who we are. These encounters aren't random. They're guided by a greater force, bringing us closer to the people we need to become. One of the most profound realizations is that every person we meet, no matter how fleeting their presence in our lives, serves as a teacher. These teachers come in many forms, Some may seem like mentors providing wisdom and guidance. Others may be the ones who push us beyond our comfort zones, forcing us to confront our fears, biases, or limitations. And then there are those who may seem indifferent, even harsh, yet their presence reveals something in us that requires healing. These are the kinds of teachers who, despite not being immediately recognized, leave a lasting impact on our journey. When we encounter someone who triggers negative emotions, whether it's anger, frustration, or sadness, it's easy to blame them for our feelings. However, when we shift our perspective and begin to ask ourselves, why does this person make me feel this way? We open the door to self-reflection. It is in this space of introspection that we uncover valuable insights about ourselves. What is it in us that this person's actions are bringing to the surface? Often the people who frustrate us the most are the ones who are pointing to aspects of our own behavior or emotions that need attention. This process can be uncomfortable, and it may take time to come to terms with what these experiences are teaching us. But over time, we begin to recognize that these challenging relationships are actually offering us the most significant opportunities for growth. They help us to develop patience, resilience, and the ability to hold space for our own emotions. With every difficult encounter, we are given a chance to become more self-aware and ultimately more compassionate. When we start to see relationships through this lens, we realize that no one is just a random presence in our lives. Every encounter has a purpose, even if that purpose is simply to push us toward greater self-awareness. And as we learn to embrace this truth, we begin to find peace in the midst of challenging relationships, knowing that they are helping to shape the person we are becoming. The wisdom of accepting that everything is interconnected comes with time. We can start to recognize patterns in our relationships where certain themes keep reappearing. Perhaps we keep encountering people with similar traits, or maybe the same type of conflict keeps arising. This is not a coincidence. The universe, or the higher power you believe in, is using these patterns to guide us. These repeated encounters are a gentle nudge, urging us to pay attention to what needs to change within ourselves. They are invitations to heal, to let go of past wounds, and to embrace the lessons that life is offering us. In this process, the concept of forgiveness becomes essential. When we forgive, we are not only releasing the other person from the debt we perceive they owe us, we are also freeing ourselves from the weight of resentment. Holding on to anger or hurt only prolongs our suffering and prevents us from moving forward. Forgiveness is a powerful tool for transformation because it allows us to see the situation clearly, without the cloud of emotional baggage that has been holding us back. It gives us the clarity to move forward with peace in our hearts. However, forgiveness does not mean forgetting or excusing behavior that was harmful. It simply means that we choose to release the emotional charge associated with the incident, allowing us to heal and grow from the experience. The act of forgiving frees us from the past and gives us the ability to step into the present with a renewed sense of purpose and clarity. And as we forgive, we create space in our hearts for more love, understanding, and compassion to flow. This is the key to developing a deeper connection with others. When we allow ourselves to let go of past pain, we open ourselves up to the possibility of new, more meaningful connections. We stop carrying the weight of past relationships into our present ones, and instead, we approach each encounter with an open heart, willing to learn from whatever it may bring. As we continue to evolve, we begin to see the profound truth that every person in our life is a reflection of us. When we observe the way we react to others, whether it's with love, impatience, anger, or admiration, we are seeing a reflection of our own inner world. The people around us serve as mirrors, showing us where we need to heal, where we need to grow, and where we have already made progress. By learning to see others as mirrors, we stop blaming external circumstances for our internal states. Instead, we begin to take responsibility for how we feel and respond. This shift in perspective is incredibly empowering because it allows us to take control of our emotional landscape. It frees us from the need to seek external validation or to place blame on others for our discomfort. It encourages us to cultivate self-love, self-respect, and the ability to hold space for our emotions without being at the mercy of them. When we start to understand that our relationships are reflections of our inner state, we realize that we are in control of the quality of the connections we create. By focusing on our own growth, healing, and self-awareness, we naturally attract more authentic, and meaningful relationships into our lives. These relationships are built on mutual respect, understanding, and a shared commitment to growth. So, as you reflect on your current relationships, both the joyful and the challenging ones, take a moment to appreciate the role each person plays in your life. Each one, whether they bring you peace or discomfort, has contributed to your growth. Every person is part of your story, and every story, no matter how difficult, is an essential part of your journey. As we reach the conclusion of our exploration into the deeper purpose of human connections, we realize that the most important relationships are the ones that challenge us the most. These relationships test us, stretch us, and push us into uncomfortable territory, but they are also the ones that lead us to our greatest transformations. They show us where we are strong, where we are weak, and what we still need to work on. But perhaps the most profound truth of all is that they remind us that no one ever enters our life without reason. In fact, the people who come into our lives often arrive just when we need them most. They may not appear with the answers we are seeking, but they bring with them the tools we need to find the answers within ourselves. Each encounter is an invitation to grow, to heal, and to evolve. The wisdom they offer us may not always be clear at first, but as we continue on our journey, we begin to see the threads of meaning woven through every interaction. The beautiful thing about these relationships is that they are not always about getting it right. They are about learning to embrace the process, accepting that life is not about perfection, but about progress. When we let go of the need for things to be perfect, we open ourselves up to the lessons that life has to offer. We stop judging ourselves and others for their imperfections, and instead we embrace the beauty of vulnerability and imperfection. One of the most transformative aspects of human connections is the power of empathy. As we begin to understand the purpose of every person who crosses our path, we begin to approach them with a deeper sense of compassion. We stop seeing others as obstacles or sources of frustration and start recognizing them as fellow travelers on this shared journey of life. Each person has their own struggles, their own lessons to learn, and their own unique gifts to offer. And as we cultivate empathy, we become more attuned to the needs and emotions of others, and we begin to build deeper, more meaningful connections. This also teaches us the importance of forgiveness, not just for others, but for ourselves. Forgiveness allows us to release the grip of past hurts and open ourselves up to new possibilities. It helps us let go of the emotional baggage that weighs us down, so we can move forward with a lighter heart. And when we forgive, we create space in our hearts for more love, more growth, and more understanding. As we learn to embrace the impermanence of relationships, we also learn to appreciate the beauty of the present moment. We stop worrying about the future or dwelling on the past, and instead, we focus on the here and now. We become more mindful of our interactions with others, recognizing that every moment is precious and that every person we encounter is a part of the story of our lives. In this process, we begin to understand the profound truth that love is not something we can control. It is not something that can be forced or manufactured. Love is a natural byproduct of our relationships with others, and when we approach these relationships with openness, kindness, and compassion, love flows freely. The more we give, the more we receive. The more we open our hearts to others, the more we allow them to open their hearts to us. When we think about the purpose of every person who enters our life, we begin to see that our relationships are not just about us. They are about the collective. They are about the interconnectedness of all beings. Every relationship, every connection is a thread in the fabric of life, and together, these threads create something far greater than the sum of their parts. As we connect with others, we contribute to the greater good, and we become part of something larger than ourselves. At the end of the day, we realize that the journey of life is not a solitary one. We are all walking this path together, supporting each other, learning from each other, and growing with each other. No one is truly alone on this journey. Every encounter is an opportunity to connect, to learn, and to grow. And when we look at life in this way, we begin to see that the people who come into our lives are not accidents. They are part of the grand design, each one with a purpose and a lesson to share. So as you continue on your journey, remember that every person who crosses your path, whether for a brief moment or for a lifetime, has something to offer. They are not here by accident. They are here to teach you, to challenge you, to help you grow. and to guide you toward the person you are meant to be. Embrace each encounter with gratitude, with open arms, and with an open heart, for you never know when a seemingly insignificant meeting may change the course of your life forever. Thank you for taking this journey with me. If you found this video meaningful, please take a moment to hit the subscribe button, not just to stay updated with our future videos, but because you're part of this community, and your presence here means the world. And if you've had an encounter that made a difference in your life, I'd love to hear from you. Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments. Let's keep the conversation going. Let's learn together, and let's grow through every connection we make. Thank you for being a part of this journey. Please subscribe to stay connected and share your experiences with us. Let's walk this path of growth and understanding side by side.